Last night's game at Citi Field was over almost as soon as it began, before Jimmy Rollins' third home run of the series and Jock Peterson's 21st home run of the season. The scoreboard resembled a Keno board as the Mets set season highs in runs and hits. For the Dodgers, not a lot to smile about, except for the second reunion in less than a week with the popular Juan Uribe. Kenley Jansen struck out Poppy on Wednesday in Atlanta, but in his first game with the Mets, Uribe reminded his old mates of his ever-present smile and his always reliable glove and arm. This afternoon, Zack Greinke, with the Major League's lowest ERA and the longest scoreless inning streak, faces Jacob deGrom, who has the second lowest ERA in the league. Figure on a different kind of game this afternoon. It's a beautiful day for baseball. And live from Citi Field in Flushing, New York, Sportsnet LA presents the Los Angeles Dodgers and the New York Mets in the final game of this 4-game series and the final game of a 10-game road trip. Hi again, everybody. Charlie Steiner, Nomar Garcia-Power, Oral Hershiser. The big story today, of course, Zack Greinke, 43 2/3 innings, consecutive scoreless innings. How in the world does a hitter hit against Greinke these days?
Well, first of all, it won't be fun, and it's the ultimate challenge because he is so unpredictable. We know he has command on the hill, but he also has swing and miss breaking stuff. His slider just falls right off the table. And to me, the best pitch this year has been his changeup. Coming out, looking like a fastball right out of his hand, and then it just disappears. Can't figure out what he's going to throw you from one at-bat to the next. What has impressed you, Earl?
Well, the most impressive thing could be the fact that he can throw any pitch at any time, or the fact that he has great strategy. He studies a hitter. But for me, the most important thing for Zack Greinke is his mental strength, the ability to fight through lack of run support, the ability to have a baby and then to come back out here and he's going to pitch really well, and the fact that he can continually know that he is hot and on his game and concentrate and stay with it and be mentally strong. I really think this guy is one of the strongest, mentally strong pitchers in the game.
Greinke and Jacob deGrom, who has the second lowest ERA in the National League. Big pitching matchup coming up next. A week ago today in Washington, we had the pitching matchup of the year, Zack Greinke and Max Scherzer. A week later, we have the next pitching matchup of the year, Zack Greinke and Jacob deGrom, the two lowest earned run averages in the National League, having at it here in New York. And here's the lineup put together by Don Mattingly, brought to you by Honda. The A team is out there today with Peterson and Kendrick and Gonzalez, Justin Turner, the cleanup spot, and Yasmani Grandal, the catcher, batting fifth. Yasiel Puig in right, Andre Ethier in left, Jimmy Rollins, who has enjoyed playing against the Mets, not only in this series, but throughout his big league career. Zack Greinke pitching and batting ninth, and 27-year-old Jacob deGrom, his 19th start, a 10-6 one-loss record, and a 2.18 ERA.
Yeah, and just his last 11 starts, he's had an ERA of a 1.5, going 7-2 in those starts with only 9 walks. So he has command, and command of what pitches? Well, it's a 95-mile-an-hour plus fastball that can get up to 98 to 99. He's got a slider that throws at 90 miles an hour, a power slider, a curveball, and a changeup. And the reason he has such a low ERA, because he has command of all 4 pitches. You really have to make them work.
6'4", 180, a 9th-round pick in 2010. So away we go with Peterson and Kendrick and Gonzalez. 86 degrees, partly cloudy skies. They're expecting showers later on in the day. So Peterson, with the home run last night, his 21st of the season, takes high and away, 1 ball and no strikes. Dodgers begin the day 2 games in front of the Giants at 56 and 43. They began this 10-game road trip 4.5 in front of the Giants. Dodgers head home immediately after the game, an off day tomorrow. Tuesday and Wednesday, the A's are in town. Peterson takes high and away, and it's 2-1.
The home run by Jock in the 6th inning was impressive, but the base hit in the 8th after the home run, where he went to the opposite field, was even more impressive, I think.
To the right side, and that is Duda. So Lucas Duda is at first base today, and one of the 2 new Mets, Kelly Johnson, is at second. Ruben Tejada is at short, Daniel Murphy at third, and once again, Juan Uribe not in the lineup. Michael Conforto is an overnight sensation in New York. Neuenhuis 4 for 4 on a walk last night. Granderson in right, and Kevin Plawecki is behind the plate. Howie Kendrick steps in. Kendrick at 287. And he has been a solid citizen when batting second. Fouling it back, it's 0-1. Nomar, you were mentioning that Jacob deGrom, in his last 9 starts, 11 starts, has an ERA of 1.5. Zack Greinke, in all of his starts, has an ERA of 1.3.
Yeah, it definitely should be a pitching matchup for the ages here today. We'll see if both of them have their stuff so far. deGrom attacking the strike zone like he's done all year.
2 out and nobody on. Kendrick down on strikes.
As you watch this deGrom fastball, it just beats Howie right down the middle, just beats him solidly. You talk about Zack Greinke. Zack Greinke with the 1.3 ERA, he's got a chance to go after the all-time lowest ERA, which would be 1968 from Bob Gibson, 1.12.
At this point in Gibson's year, 47 years ago, his ERA was 106.
Wow.
And then he got cuffed around all the way up to 1.1.
He was losing it, I guess, as the year went on. Huh?
Started to get a little tired.
So here is Gonzalez fouling it off to the left.
If Zach would do something like that, I don't know what they could do to bring offense back into the game after 68, when all the records were set. The ERA and the scoreless inning streaks, and Denny McLain winning 31 games. They lowered the mound to get offense to come up.
0-2 with 2 out. So here is Jacob deGrom, rookie of the year last year, and What a sensation he was in Cincinnati at the All-Star game. 271 players were picked in front of DeGrom in 2010. Retires the Dodgers in order, striking out Kendrick and Gonzalez along the way. Zack Greinke, 43 2/3 scoreless innings, about to toe the rubber in his 20th start of the season. Down, 3 behind first place Washington in the National League East, and here's the lineup he has put together, courtesy of Honda, with Granderson and Tejada and Murphy. Kelly Johnson, his first night with the Mets last night was a good one, a home run and a base hit. Lucas Duda, Michael Conforto, back page star of the tabloids in New York this morning. Neuenhuis, a big night last night for 4 and a walk. Milwaukee is the catcher, DeGrom is the pitcher, and Zack Greinke is all yours, Oral.
Well, Zach's got to go out there, and he's on 6 days rest, but it hasn't been complete rest because of the coast-to-coast, coast-to-coast trip to be with Emily while Bodie was born. Now he's got to narrow in on baseball with his focus.
4th longest scoreless streak in history, behind Oral, Don Drysdale, and Bob Gibson. So this is the longest scoreless streak in 27 years. Granderson takes inside.
Zach over his career has been very good when he's had 6 days or more rest. He's 8-1 with a 1.73. It's 13 starts that he's had that kind of rest, so he likes the extra rest.
3 weeks ago, facing the Mets, Gonzalez flashing the Gold Glove, and the underhanded toss to the Gold Glove winning Zack Greinke. On July the 4th at Dodger Stadium, Greinke went 7 innings against the Mets, no runs, 4 hits, 4 strikeouts, didn't walk anybody, threw 100 pitches, 63 for strikes. So now it's up to 44 straight. Here's Tejada. Last night, a couple of base hits. Took the collar on Thursday night. That's the only hit he hasn't had in his last 13 games. Tejada, a couple of home runs, 18 runs batted in.
Zach's got to feel like he's indoors on this beautiful day in New York compared to how he pitched in the weather in Washington in his last start.
110 heat index. This is positively frigid by comparison. Kendrick. Quickly 2 out. The defense behind Zach Greinke on this Sunday afternoon. Ethier, Peterson, and Puig in the outfield. Round up the usual suspects in the infield. Turner and Rollins and Kendrick and Gonzalez. Yasmani Grandal is behind the plate. Daniel Murphy stepping in. Murphy at .271 with a half dozen home runs. Murphy at third base. Juan Uribe again watching in Uribe's second game with New York. One ball and no strikes. Kelly Johnson is on deck. Now time call. Manny Gonzalez calling balls and strikes today. Greinke with a deep breath. Two balls and no strikes. With all eyes on Greinke, I'm just wondering what you were going through, Oral, this time 27 years ago in the midst of your streak.
There's a lot of comparisons to what Zach's going through and what the Dodgers of 1988 went through. The lack of run support for Zach. We did not have a very big offensive team, so it really makes you concentrate batter for batter.
Two balls and two strikes.
At no time are you really ever thinking about trading a run for an out because you're just not getting many runs. So it really actually helps you with your concentration and your strategy to put zeros on the board.
Little margin for error, and especially with DeGrom going for the Mets today. Chopper to first. Gonzalez to Greinke. At a 1-2-3 inning, the Mets fail to get the ball out of the infield. We'll go to the second with Turner, Grandal, and Puig coming up. SNLA Data Strong Fan, and you just might see yourself in an upcoming telecast. Brought to you by T-Mobile. Dodgers and Mets have been blessed with great weather in this 4-game series. The Dodgers fly home immediately after this one. 5-4 on the trip. And Justin Turner will lead it off here in the second. Greinke, 10 pitches, 7 for strikes in the first inning. Turner at .324 swings and misses, and it's 0-1. DeGrom and Corey Kluber have something in common. They both went to Stetson University. DeGrom, Rookie of the Year in 2014. Last September against the Marlins, began the game by striking out the first 8 hitters he faced. 0-2 to Turner. DeGrom has struck out 2 in a row. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Yasmani Grandal on deck. Yasiel Puig to follow. That got up there in a hurry on the inside corner. 3 strikeouts in a row for Jacob DeGrom.
It's one thing to have great stuff. It's another thing to have a liberal strike zone. This is a tough pitch to hit. I think that ball is in, but it's an excellent pitch.
Like it was one that might have started off on the corner and maybe tailed off just a little bit.
So 3 strikeouts as Yasmani Grandal steps in. Grandal 14 home runs on the year.
You know how they say, Nomar, that the hitter, the last thing you really see that you're hitting is about 10 to 15 feet in front of home plate? I wonder if the same thing's happening to the umpire. Because of that late movement, sometimes we see those liberal strike calls that they look like a strike out there in front of the plate to the umpire. They call it, but the ball moves.
Yeah, later on, you would assume so. I mean, if batter's losing it, why wouldn't the umpire?
Yeah,
what makes them any different?
The best eyes in the world are losing it. Right. The hitters, the umpires, the only thing they have a little straighter on look.
In short right field, Kelly Johnson is perfectly positioned. Johnson in his second game with the Mets. Of course, DeGrom, that lights out performance in the All-Star game, striking out Stephen Vogt, Jason Kipnis, and Jose Iglesias. And he struck out the 3 with less than 10 pitches. Or 10 to be precise. First one to strike out a side with 10 or less. No balls, 1 strike to Yasiel Puig at .258, 6 home runs and 22 runs batted in. 19 pitches, 15 strikes. And for a change, he misses the zone. 1-1. Going to be a long afternoon for the hitters based on the early returns.
When you have guys like this on the hill, we saw this when Zach Greinke was over there his last pitch against Max Scherzer, where, okay, you might see some bunting, you might see it early on, where every 90 feet is going to be important.
Location, 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 real estate, 90 feet at a time, but none for the Dodgers here in the second. 6 up, 6 down by DeGrom. Now it'll be Zach Greinke's turn. He'll face Kelly Johnson, Lucas Duda, and Michael Conforto when we come back.
Start of the 2015 season brings in a Major League best 1.30 ERA into the game. And, of course, we've talked about it at length in the midst of making Major League Baseball history. Time now for the Coors Light Cold Hard Facts. And, of course, we've been talking about the 42 2/3 innings of scoreless work coming into the game. However, Zack Greinke trying to surpass Bob Gibson. Now, Gibson's streak ended when Dodger left fielder Len Gabrielson scored on a 2-out wild pitch in the first inning at Dodger Stadium on July 1st, 1968. Guys, that one, of course, against Don Drysdale.
So Greinke now 44 2/3 and counting. Kelly Johnson with an easy play for Justin Turner. 4 up and 4 down. Well, this is a day of small ball, it will appear. One run is going to loom large for either side. Well, certainly, Oral, in your streak, you were aware of the Drysdale number, and people were watching you, and I'm thinking back, for instance, the 56-game hitting streak for DiMaggio. Each at-bat, each game was paramount. How are you able to divorce yourself from all the attention? You know that everybody's here watching Greinke doing what he's doing, and he's alone at the top of that hill as you were 27 years ago.
Really came down to, for me, not thinking about results, meaning if you do something, you're a hero. If you don't do something, you're a GOAT. It comes down to execution thinking. It's about executing, because the best odds of being successful are to execute successfully. And you can't control everything when you're on the mound. You can make the best pitch in the world, and they can still bloop it in.
Duda on 1-1. So breaking ball for a strike, and it's 1-2.
As a pitcher, did you focus, because I know as a hitter going through, say, a hitting streak, for me it was trying to duplicate the feeling I had the next day every time. It's like, gosh, I know how I felt. That was a good feeling. I want to do it again tomorrow. What do I got to do for my practice, whatever it may be? If you're in the middle of a streak, was it, and even on the middle of the game, was it about getting that feel as well for you?
Yeah, it's always about developing that feel and keeping your mindset in a place where you can maintain your rhythm, not getting too excited, not getting too down.
On 2-2. Andre Ethier.
You know, I think also as a big leaguer, and Nomar, you'll know this, you can't have fun when you're practicing, because practice becomes so much fun when you're doing it well that you can over practice.
Oh yeah.
And now you're tired when you actually have to go do it. So having the confidence when you're in your bullpen session or you're playing catch to feel that feeling of I've got it, and then saying I don't need to throw the ball anymore.
It was the same way. If I was hitting, it was, you know, how many swings? It's like, it could be 10 swings, and they're like, oh, you want any more? No, I'm right where I need to be. I feel good. I don't need to keep swinging and get myself into a bad habit all of a sudden.
It's like eating chocolate cake, though, because it's like the best experience in the world when you're doing it, and you want to throw the ball some more. You want to hit some more, but you know it's not the right thing to do.
So it's more than physical strength. It's as much mental discipline as anything else, just being tunnel visioned. Here's Michael Conforto, the overnight success in New York. 4 for 4 last night and a walk.
Yeah, it's a cross-section of so many different skills, from the mental side to the physical side to the strategy side.
The 0-1. No balls and 2 strikes to Conforto.
Well, I just thought you made a good point earlier, and you never think about that, where because of your offense maybe not being the strongest, where it allowed you to focus on those games during the streak, as compared to if they put on an 8 spot for you, let's say 8-0, it's a whole different mentality for you going out there.
Over the 6 starts for Zach, he's gotten 18 runs of support. In my streak, I had 14 runs of support. In Don Drysdale's streak, he had 17 runs of support. So all of us were pitching, you know.
Right.
I think Don had a 5-0 game. That was about the largest game that he had as far as run support. I had a few 1-0 games in there. Zach's had a 1-0 game.
Conforto on 1 and 2, down on strikes, and Greinke 6 up, 6 down, and we will go to the 3rd. DeGrom and Greinke living up to advanced billing. presents Friday Night Fireworks. Come out July 31st and take your place on the field for a fireworks show featuring music from the 1980s. For more information, go to Dodgers.com/promotions. Well, the two pitchers have been perfect through the first 2 innings. DeGrom, 22 pitches, 16 strikes, and 3 strikeouts. Dodgers have yet to get the ball out of the infield. Greinke, in 2 innings, 21 pitches, 15 for strikes, and 1 strikeout. Andre Ethier steps in and rolls one to first. Backhanded stab by Duda.
Well, for both of these teams, when you have one like DeGrom and Greinke on the hill, you know they're going to be throwing strikes. They're going to be in that zone. You end up being a little bit more on your toes as well. And also that hitters will be swinging because you don't want to get behind either one of these pitches because of their strikeout stuff ability. And Duda making a fine play over there.
Well, Jimmy Rollins had 30 home runs against the Mets coming into the series, but one on Thursday, one on Friday, and one last night. He has been moida on the Mets.
Omar, you made a nice point about rest over the All-Star break for Jimmy Rollins.
Yeah, I think we saw him starting to swing the bat pretty well about 10 days or so before the All-Star break. You're like, okay, he's getting better at bats. He was, having good outs. But I think the break, combined with he was getting his swing better, and then with the break you get a little rest. Now his bat seems a little bit quicker, maybe battling with fatigue right before that, and it seems like when you get rest you can get that barrel above the ball a little bit better as well. And I think we've seen that from him since the All-Star break in his at-bats.
So as you start to swing, the barrel doesn't drop quite as much because you're stronger in your hands and your arms and your base.
Exactly right.
On 1 and 2. DeGrom has struck out 4. 2 out, nobody out.
DeGrom is just challenging hitters. He knows, like, okay, I have the fastball, and he climbs the ladder. And that ball is so tough to lay off of as a hitter and so tough to get on top with the velocity in which he throws it at.
Zach Greinke is 7 out of 42 this year. It's a 167 average. A double and an RBI. And he breaks up DeGrom's no-hitter with a clean single back through the originator.
Zach loves to hunt the fastball first pitch. He is a pitcher that swings at the first pitch. He is not up there to look for a walk, hope they don't throw me strikes. He goes, you know what? They try to get ahead of me. I am a good athlete. I'm going to get the barrel to the middle of the plate. And if they're just trying to throw a strike, I hit it really hard.
What a concept. First pitch fastball, go hit it. Yes.
That was your deal.
Be ready. Exactly.
See the ball,
nice
hit
job.
the ball.
Job by Zach.
Peterson bounced to first in his first at bat. Zach at 233, 21 home runs, 43 runs batted in. A line drive shot into the right field stands last night when the game was hopelessly out of hand. Duda with a backhand stab, and that does it. So the first hit of the game by Greinke, who returns to the bottom half of the third. Scoreless. to you by the 2015 Jeep Cherokee with an EPA estimated 31 highway MPG. It's the perfect choice. Visit Jeep.com today. So it's 45 2/3 scoreless innings and counting for Zack Greinke, whose ERA at 1:42 Eastern time on this Sunday afternoon, July the 26th, 128. Remarkable. In the first 2 innings, 21 pitches, 15 for strikes. And the bottom third of the bet order coming up in the bottom of the third. Kirk Neuenhuis, Kevin Plawecki, and Jacob deGrom. P.S. deGrom is every bit as good a hitting pitcher as Greinke is.
I was thinking the same thing, Charlie, when Zach got that base hit. I'm like, well, deGrom, he was a converted infielder in college. So it's not like he's been pitching his entire life.
Well, these are 2 great athletes having at it today. And Neuenhuis gets hit by a pitch. That's the Mets' first base runner of the day.
Zack Greinke trying to establish the inside part of home plate. We talked about this yesterday, Oral, that you know, all the runs that the Mets scored, it seemed like they were really, not that he wasn't trying to hit them by any means, but just that they were really comfortable in the box and they felt like they could just eliminate the inner half and look over the middle of the plate, especially the left-handed batters, and Zach was just trying to get in there and establish it.
4th time Greinke's hit a batter this year. Plawecki takes a strike, and it's 0-1. deGrom on deck.
Zach is one of the pitchers in the National League that throws the ball away at one of the highest percentages. So you have to be aggressive inside sometimes so that the hitters don't turn the outside corner into the middle of the plate. And that's when you know as a pitcher it's time to come inside and to pitch inside for a little while. When the hitter gets so comfortable that you see the barrel of the bat and the weight and the stride of the hitter, that all of a sudden the ball that you throw on the outside corner, to me it looks like the hitter's swinging at something down the middle. And that's when you all of a sudden go, okay, we have to reestablish the strike zone.
1 ball, 1 strike. Into center field for a base hit. Bobbled by Peterson, and there'll be runners at the corners. Neuenhuis hit by a pitch. Plawecki singles to center. An error by Peterson, and now the Mets have runners at the corners and nobody out.
Jam shot's a very nice pitch. Talk about pitching inside, and he gets in there inside the barrel, and Jock right here just gets his weight out of whack. The glove's on the wrong angle. You watch the glove as he goes down for this. It's pointed towards the outfield fence, so it rolls through it, and nobody feels worse than Jock right now.
4th error of the season for Peterson. And now the scoreless streak in some serious jeopardy.
It's only 3rd runner that has reached 3rd base on Zach over the 6 starts that he's been out there.
Jacob deGrom.
You know, then you have the infield is not in here. They are playing kind of halfway double play depth in the middle with Jimmy Rollins and Howie Kendrick.
8 hits for deGrom.
You know,
this is that
for me, Nomar.
That's the challenge.
This is. It would not be selfish to bring the infield in
because of
deGrom's ability to throw a shutout.
Yep.
Because his ability as a pitcher, and so I don't think it would be selfish from Don Mattingly, Tim Wallach, Rick Honeycutt to bring the infield in here.
We were talking about how important 90 feet is in this game.
0-1 to deGrom, who squares and bunts it foul. deGrom in 41 at-bats has been struck out 10 times.
I think even more so we were just talking about. I've seen a lot with 2 strikes. Okay, 2 strikes, now bring them in.
Oh, I bring them in for sure. And that was really more of a sacrifice bunt, because if you're squeezing, that's the only place you don't want to bunt the ball is down the 3rd baseline, because now the catcher can go out, field the ball, and collide with the runner for a tag. You've got to try and bunt the ball to the middle of the field or to first base.
Infield back, hoping for the double play. on 0-2. Slowly hit. Gonzalez comes home. The throw. Safe. The scoreless streak is over. A hit batter, a base hit, an error, a fielder's choice, and the Dodgers hope they might have reason for replay.
Well, in the days of replay right now, Dick Dietz revisited when Drysdale had a streak, bases loaded, he hit him, they called him back. Harry Wendelstedt called him back. During my streak, Brett Bettler slid out of the baseline in a first and third situation. But as this one is revisited, the run's going to count.
The streak is over.
Unfortunate.
It's so unfortunate because it's a team streak as much as it is an individual streak, and Jock Peterson knows that in center field right now.
Six weeks. And it all began when Greinke hit Neuenhuis, a .214 hitter. More importantly now, the Dodgers are down a run. They've got a 2-game lead on the Giants on this Sunday afternoon. And that is the smallest lead the Dodgers have had since June 30th. Began the trip 4.5 in front of the Giants.
Well, now it's important. We all know, I mean, it's easy to say, well, it's important for Zach Greinke to say, okay, shake it off, streak's over, let me really focus, get back out there, you know, game at hand. But it's also the whole team as well. So as you said, it's been a team streak. You know, Jock has to shake it off. The rest of the guys, okay, everybody knows. You saw Adrian trying to really keep it going home with that.
Into right field, and there's Puig. So Granderson flies to right, first out of the third. Bring up Ruben Tejada, bounce to second. Well, there's a sense of deflation, certainly, for this Dodger club.
There were so many things with Zach Streak that were so much like what happened with Don and I. I mean, being Dodgers, my pitching coach, Ron Peronowski, was a teammate of Don Drysdale's. Zach's pitching coach, Rick Honeycutt, was a teammate of mine. It was just fantastic to watch him throw the ball now. Rick was my catchmate when I was a Dodger, and then Rick was traded over to Oakland. Ron Peronowski was not a teammate of Don Drysdale's. When Don did it, he went over to Minnesota the next year.
Family tree of scoreless streaks.
My son Jordan was born in the middle of the streak. Zach's son Bodie was born in his streak.
No way.
I pitched on the 14th. We induced Jordan on the 15th. I caught up with the team on the 19th and pitched in Houston and threw a shutout. Zach pitched against Washington. Had his shutout streak continue. Went back, left the team. Had his son Bodie, and now he's here pitching.
Looped into left, and Ethier with a long run makes a terrific catch, and that's going to be a double play to end the inning. Well, the scoreless streak is over. The Mets take a 1-0 lead. Kendrick, Gonzalez, and Turner will bat in the fourth. 45 2/3 scoreless innings, and wouldn't you know it, it was the other pitcher, Jacob deGrom, on a fielder's choice that would knock in Kirk Neuenhuis. Neuenhuis led off the inning, hit by a pitch. Milwaukee a single to center. An error by Jock Peterson allowed Neuenhuis to go to third, and then the fielder's choice would knock in the Mets center field. So now, more importantly, the Dodgers are down a run as we go to the fourth. Kendrick, Gonzalez, and Turner. Kendrick, a strikeout victim in his first at-bat, and deGrom to this point has struck out 4. And the only hit by the Dodgers, Zach Greinke.
This is a challenge for the Dodgers because this is the kind of game that we talked about. They need to start showing that they can win. Beat the frontline pitchers. Find ways that people that can strike you out to manufacture runs. And in a sense, this feels like a playoff game rehearsal as the Mets reconfigure their roster with the trade of Kelly Johnson and Juan Uribe, who's not in there today, and bringing up Michael Conforto. And they're still on the hunt for bats. And with these arms, you never know who you're going to face.
We talked about that with last time Zach Greinke took the hill when he was going up against Max Scherzer.
Exactly.
And watching now the fourth game of this series, the first 2 games, you could see that the Mets were a deflated lot. They had lost a heartbreaker to Washington the previous game. Into center field, and Neuenhuis. And then yesterday, with Kelly Johnson arriving and Juan Uribe arriving, and their offense, 15 runs and 21 hits. They look like a new team. The crowd was energized. And then today, have another big crowd here. And the Mets, while they're getting crushed in the media in town, they're only 3 games out of first place. And it's a big game for both clubs. Gonzalez fouls it off to the left. So this is a different looking team 48 hours later than it was the first 2 games of this series.
Exactly right, Charlie. And that will not go unnoticed by the Dodger team or the Met team. Terry Collins has really had a tough year with his offense, but he has kept this team afloat. And he is a solid, consistent manager.
Gonzalez to the left, 0-2. Adrian struck out in his first at-bat.
I think Terry learned the same lesson that Buck Showalter learned, is that not everybody's wired the same and not everybody's wired like me. And at times they learn that their day in and day out intensity and attention to detail is sometimes hard for the players to keep and maintain, and that they can't just show that outwardly all the time, that it can wear their team out. And so I think Terry has really improved as a manager as he's managed his personality. Buck Showalter has done.
Began his major league managerial career with the Astros in '94, then to Anaheim, and now his 5th year with the Mets.
It reminded me kind of like a jockey when the horses come out of the gate and immediately the jockey starts whipping the horse all the way around, compared to the jockey that knows when to go to the crack of the whip and when he needs that burst of speed. And I think both Buck and Terry have learned that their personality, they love that every day, but it's not everybody's wired that way.
Into center field, well hit. Neuenhuis hit right on the button by Gonzalez. There's 2 out. Remember years ago when Buck Showalter, in his first year in Baltimore, when things were beginning to turn around for him, and it became a happy-go-lucky clubhouse, which was a stark contrast to what it had been in his previous ports of call. And I asked him about it. I said, so what's the difference now that you've got this homogeneous unit there, and they love him in Baltimore?
Oh.
And he said, in the offseason, said, I I took a good look at myself in the mirror and realized the enemy was me. And he took his foot off the accelerator and let the players play. And wired very much like Terry Collins and Collins. Same thing.
Exactly.
This is Plawecki. And the Dodgers go quietly in the fourth. Nothing across. We go to the bottom of the fourth. Scoreless streak is over for Greinke now. The Mets with a 1-0 lead after 3.5.
Yeah, back in the third inning. Here's this line drive, blue single to center. And Jock Peter just overruns it. You can see just Zach Greinke's reaction right here. Okay, all right, that's all right. Got to go out there, got to do my job, and you know, here it is. He's still focused on what he has to do. There's a play. Everybody's pointing, think there's still might a chance. He's thinking the same thing. You see Jock after that. Jock was just feeling awful after that play. Center field.
I'll tell you what, Zach Greinke is a great teammate. I mean, to know what's going on, to be out there pitching against DeGrom, to know you have the personal streak, but then to have that very classy, team-oriented reaction. Yes. He's the kind of guy that Jock's going to want to play behind for a long time, and everybody else.
Murphy, no balls and a strike. Bounce to first in his first at-bat. And lines to right in his second at-bat.
You know, as you were talking about, yeah, how classy the rest of your teammates, they recognize that. As an infielder, as an outfielder, the defense behind the pitcher. And they're not animated when you make a mistake, or they're after they get the ball, they're like, yeah, I'm going to get you the next one. It goes a long way. And you're going, you're right, I'm picking you up, because you feel awful as it is when you make an error. And you just feel so bad, and especially the situation that we just saw before us. So you feel terrible. So to have that type of reaction, that is just speaks volumes.
When you start comparing things from generation to generation in baseball, it is really hard to say which is better or which is longer or which is harder. But I'm telling you what, in my generation, that run might not have scored. Because Mike Scioscia would have been in front of home plate blocking. The runner would have slid into him, been stopped. The ball would have then arrived, and Scioscia would have planted him. Well, Yasmani Grandal can't do that in this generation. It's a different game.
Horrible rule. Just a horrible rule.
But I was watching the play going, okay, you just block the plate, we got him, and you can't do it.
No.
Kelly Johnson bounced to third in his first at-bat. Greinke has one pickoff this year. Lucas Duda on deck. 1-1. Gonzalez from his knees to Rollins, back to first, double play. Adrian Gonzalez made it look so easy.
From his knees, and just kind of like watch this throw by Adrian Gonzalez right here. Just over the runner, nice little perfect to the shortstop, knowing that they have time to still turn this double play. I mean, you couldn't do it any better, and definitely worthy of a Carl's Cam replay.
Maybe two. Now Lucas Duda. High and away, 1 ball, no strikes.
He was a hockey goalie right there, and then he is a tennis player. Just kind of, I'll just throw a lob there, lob it over the runner to second base. The athletic ability and his ability to adapt to the situation is absolutely amazing at first base. To slow the game down, a rocket is hit at you, so your adrenaline rush. Now you're soft hands, and now you calm your heart, and you pick up the situation and you throw it from your knee to second base.
A perfect flick.
Yeah. It is so hard to change gears like that athletically, mentally and emotionally. I mean, Nomar, you know, you've had bullets hit at shortstop, and you got to kind of calm down. Remember where you're going to throw the ball right now if you're going to go for 2 and pick a runner off behind that.
So much going on in your mind.
And oh, by the way, is there any better first baseman than Gonzalez digging those throws out of the dirt?
No, second to none.
So those 4 gold gloves are not by any accident. Lucas Duda flied to left field in his first at bat. Here's the 2-2.
The other thing about Adrian that's so impressive to me is he's a complete person. There are great baseball players that are gym rats, and they're baseball players 24 hours a day. He's traveling with his child and his wife on this trip, and he's doing some things throughout the city. He's having room service with the family. He's on the bus talking to guys and being a team leader. He's getting off the bus and chatting with us as we walk in.
Call strike 3, and that will end the inning. No runs, a leadoff hit erased on the double play that began with Adrian Gonzalez. It'll be Grandal and Puig and Ethier coming up when we come back for the 5th. First 40,000 fans in attendance on Wednesday night and receive a Yasiel Puig bobblehead presented by Jack in the Box. For more information, go to Dodgers.com/promotions. Grandal, Puig, and Ethier. Well, it is the pitcher's duel that we had anticipated. 1 run, 2 hits for the Mets, no runs, 1 hit, and what turned out to be a costly error for the Dodgers. A strike to Grandal, who bounced to second in his first at bat. The 45 2/3 innings is where the Greinke scoreless streak has come to an end. One and one to Grandal. Puig and Ethier to follow here in the 5th. Was he get it up there in a hurry? "46 pitches, 32 of them for strikes. That's Puig. Ethier next, and if anybody gets on, Rollins. "96 with a tail."
Nomar, you're the hitting coach for the Dodgers right now. Do you tell everyone I want a 2-strike approach right from the very first pitch?
Telling them to start thinking about it. Say, make this. I would go around walking through, say, guys, make the adjustment. We know he's throwing hard. We know he's got some movement, hitting the spots. You know, let's think about shortening up out there right from the first pitch.
You might not do that the very first at bat, but after you see the guys on his game.
Yep.
And you know it's probably going to be a 1-run game.
And he is certainly on his game.
Right.
Well, he's supplying the power, too. So you shorten up as a hitter, you're not all of a sudden saying, I can't hit a home run, because the pitcher's going to supply the power.
Puig bounced to third in his first at bat. Slices it foul.
For me, it was always telling is, you know, guys that do shorten up or have a 2-strike approach that we're talking about, or will make the adjustment when they get 2 strikes. I guarantee you, ask them, you know, so if you ever had 2 strikes and ever hit a home run, I'm sure they say, yeah, I have, especially the guys who have the power to hit a home run. So yeah, okay, so it's okay to take a 2-strike approach. You're still going to have that, you know, okay, you might minimize some of the power, but at the same time, I'm also increasing my chances of making contact.
The singles, doubles, and triples are still in the equation.
Sure.
And at a higher level.
When we talk about just producing runs. Guys like DeGrom on there who are on top of their game, you're not going, okay, listen, maybe we can just get that mistake and get that 1 run and that big swing and get that. No, why don't we put quite a few together, trust in everybody doing their job, and produce that one?
2-2 to Puig with 1 out in the 5th. 6th strikeout for DeGrom. Slider darting down and away.
You know, talking to Keith Hernandez, who broadcast for the Mets before the game, he really believes that DeGrom might be the best pitcher of all these guys. That he is the guy who really has the talent and is really applying that to being a pitcher and not a complete thrower. A lot of the young guns are still throwers and they're learning to pitch, where he really feels like DeGrom has a feel for the game at a very young age.
Ethier bounced to first in his first at bat. Late at 96. The only hit of the game for the Dodgers, a 2-out single for Greinke back in the 3rd. Shortened up that swing at 98. DeGrom turned 27 last month.
Here we are in a 2-strike situation, Nomar, and the guys in the truck just told me that 44 of your 229 home runs came with 2 strikes. You shortened up pretty well.
And 1,000 of them came on the first pitch.
Yeah, you probably, if you would have been swinging at that first pitch, you'd have had more 2-strike home runs.
Yeah, of course. I was like, when you said 44, I was like, man, I got 2 strikes that many times.
Well, they were all 0-2.
Oh, okay.
It was only the third pitch. 62 of them on the first pitch.
There you go.
I was just told.
On 1-2, Ethier fouls it off.
So you definitely had more opportunities to hit a home run on the first pitch than you did in a 2-strike game.
Yeah. Well, listen, the game told me how the type of hitter I tried to be. It really did. And when you have a plan up there, we talk about the approach, the 2-strike approach. You shorten up a little bit. It also helps against a guy just throwing this hard.
On 1-2, Ethier bangs a base hit into center field. Second hit of the day for the Dodgers. 2-out, 2-strike single for Andre Ethier.
And since we're talking about that 2-strike approach, Andre's a perfect example. I've seen him kind of evolve with this year as well. He seems to have a better 2-strike approach. We also talk about his hands, how he used to have that hand over the knob, and now it's not. It almost looks like it's choking up just a little bit. Well, that also gives you more back control, almost to like as a 2-strike approach. You used to see that a lot back in the day. With a 2-strike approach, the guy would just choke up so he can handle the bat and almost old plain pepper with the ball.
Jimmy Rollins, a strikeout victim in his first at-bat. Takes a strike. In his last 75 games against the Mets, dating back to 2011, Rollins at .307, 10 home runs, 33 RBIs, 17 doubles, and a triple. And he's homered in each of the first 3 games of the series, but he hadn't been facing Jacob deGrom. Well, this is as hard as deGrom has had to work in any inning to this point. It's a bit early, but in 1-run games this year, the Dodgers are 14-16. The Mets are 16-16. Manny Gonzalez, home plate umpire.
It was really close there.
Murphy throws out Rollins, and that ends the inning. No runs, a 2-out single for Ethier. We'll go to the bottom of the 5th. Conforto, Ianheis, and Paul Wecke coming up.
5 2/3 scoreless innings of work, but it's not just the streak that has been impressive. Zack Greinke has had an incredible week after blanking the Nationals, a cross-country flight from New York to Los Angeles, an unexpected flight for the birth of his son, Bodie Nicholas, then another cross-country flight with plane issues to get him back here to take the hill today in the final game of the series. When I asked his teammates about it, Mike Bolsinger said if anybody in the clubhouse can handle it, it's Zack Greinke. Clayton Kershaw said his focus is exactly the same. The only difference is now he's a dad.
And now Clayton Kershaw has a scoreless streak of 29 innings. So he is next on the pecking order. And on the first pitch, at the bottom of the 5th, Conforto breaks his bat and pops to Kendrick.
Or Lana just talking about his focus. Anybody can do it, it's him. But now that the streak's over, does it take relief some of the pressure to get, refocus, or like, all right, now I can just go out there and pitch like I'm supposed to without that pressure on me?
Yeah, I really considered that in '88, the next game that I pitched was against the Mets, and it went 8 more innings, and then I gave up a run and had to get right back in it. Tommy took me out of the game as soon as I gave up that run, so I don't know what it's like to give up the run and then have to go pitch, other than I had a next outing, of course. A few days later I was starting again. But I remember when Tommy took the ball from me and he goes, "Bulldog, you're done." I said, "Tommy, I'm fine." And he goes, "Bulldog, you're done." I said, "Tommy, it just seems like I'm tired because that's the first run I've given up in 67 innings.
Turner, Ethier, neither.
He took me out and he goes, "Bulldog, get off the mound." So I don't know what it's like for Zack to then keep pitching.
Well, what sense of deflation, if any, did you have when it ended?
It ended the next year after we win the World Series. We have Thanksgiving, we have Christmas, we've been to the White House, to the Rose Garden, and now we have a spring training. My elbow is scarred down from all the workload from '88. I didn't tell anybody. I didn't start opening day. I was trying to milk some more days to get my elbow to feel good. And the elbow didn't break loose until midway through the year when the scar tissue finally broke loose. But I gave up a run the very first inning. 2-out base hit from Todd Betzinger and a short ground ball between short and third. 2-out man at second. And it was over right then. The record keeper said it would continue the next year. And to me, it didn't feel like it should continue. It's like it's separate seasons now. And if anything, I thought if the record keepers would say the innings against the Mets in the playoffs would be harder innings than regular season the next year.
Kirk Neuenhuis on 2-2. Now it's full.
But the two guys on our team right now, Zack Greinke, so proud to have him as a Dodger, and I hope he resigns and stays with us and doesn't opt out, and Clayton Kershaw for the length that he's going to be. These are the two guys I would love to see break. I want to sit in the same chair that Don did, and he watched me, and I'd love to sit in this chair and watch them do it. And Clayton's one is alive now, and Zack is starting over, so it'd be a lot of fun for Dodger fans and for us to watch it.
Neuenhuis was hit by the pitch by Greinke. Back in the third inning and would come around to score in the scoreless streak, break the shutout, and a 1-out single to right. For Neuenhuis last night, 4 for 4 and a walk. Today hit by a pitch and a single to right. So he's 5 for his last 5 and has been on base 7 consecutive plate appearances. As Kevin Plawecki comes up, he looped a single into center field, and that's when the streak became in peril. Peterson bobbled the blooper, and that allowed Neuenhuis to go to third. DeGrom, with a fielder's choice, grounded to Adrian Gonzalez to throw home. Neuenhuis beat the throw, and that's the difference in the game.
It shows that an individual record really is a team record, because Zack couldn't do it without his teammates. None of us can do something even that gets recorded as an individual without guys around us.
No balls and 2 strikes to Plawecki.
I'm just thinking about all the things that came into play for that hit by pitch, leadoff guy. I mean, obviously the air in center field, but Plawecki, Mets hit 21 hits yesterday, and he's the only one who did not have a hit, and he's the one who gets the base hit in that inning.
You know, and to think back with Jock Peterson dropping the ball, the runner getting to third, there might have been a time during the streak that he saved a run.
Yeah.
So he's out there grinding on that, but he has saved many a run out there and changed the whole configuration of Dodger defense.
Ball strike 3, third strikeout for Greinke, 2 out.
And I know there were times where John Shelby saved me a run, or Alfredo Griffin, or Steve Sachs, or Jeff Hamilton. So it is a team accomplishment.
Well, Jacob deGrom steps in after Plawecki takes the call, third strike. deGrom on the fielder's choice, his second RBI of the year. The Mets pitchers have driven in 20 runs this year. That's the most of any pitching staff with a bat in their hands. Matt Harvey. Knocked in 2 last night. Well, last Sunday it was Greinke and Scherzer. Dodgers and Greinke would eventually win it 5-0. Day where the heat index is 110 degrees. Much more comfortable weather-wise here on this Sunday afternoon.
It's the best New York weather we've had in years in a series.
In the middle of the summer, absolutely
gorgeous.
Little chopper. Greinke will throw out deGrom, and that will end the inning. No runs and 1 base hit. Will go to the 6th. Greinke will lead it off. By Nissan. Choose Nissan today for great offers on our most exciting lineup ever. Shop ChooseNissan.com. And by Flex Alert. This summer, the power is in your hands. Visit FlexAlert.org. Tail of the tape on this beautiful Sunday afternoon in New York after 5. A run and 3 hits surrendered by Greinke. No runs and 2 hits for deGrom. Pitch counts roughly the same. And here we go into the top half of the 6th inning. Greinke with one of the 2 base hits for the Dodgers off Jacob deGrom. It was a 2-out single to center. Ethier had a 2-out single to center in the 5th. So the Dodgers have yet to have a runner in scoring position against 27-year-old Jacob deGrom.
Zach hit a first pitch fastball in his last at bat. I'd be surprised if he gets one here. And the next pitch after Zach's first pitch fastball, first pitch to Jock Peterson, was a changeup. It just shows the feel of deGrom on the mound.
Into left toward the corner, and Conforto is there. First out of the 6th inning.
Hard to say a pitcher got away with a pitch to another pitcher, but he just got away with a hanging slider to Zach Greinke. Zach was all over that. I think the slider just backs up. It might have been a changeup. Zach even gave it the bat flip.
He just missed that.
Jock Peterson stepping in. He's grounded to first twice. Hit his 21st home run of the season last night. Nothing and 1.
You know, Jock was thinking about trying to tie this game up for Zach. You just can't keep it out of your mind.
Absolutely.
I mean, if you made an error behind Pedro in his day, now going to the Hall of Fame today, wouldn't you be back there at short? My next at bat, I'm going to make up for something.
I used to feel that a lot with him. With that, I mean, any pitcher you feel that way. I mean, it doesn't matter. You make an error, you feel awful. The other one too, it seemed like I used to just come through, and he told me that. He goes, "It's funny because you made one behind me. I didn't mind because usually he hit a home run, and that was Brett Saberhagen." Like, really?
2-2 to Jock Peterson with Howie Kendrick on deck. Of course, Pedro. Long about now, the ceremonies. 4.5 hour drive north of New York up in Cooperstown.
What a class that is. It's going into the Hall of Fame today.
Randy Johnson, John Smoltz, Pedro Martinez, Craig Biggio. Peterson trying to get something out of his eye. Kendrick and Gonzalez to follow. 2-2. 3 balls and 2 strikes. To this point, deGrom has struck out 6. Hasn't walked anybody. Peterson, 21 home runs and 43 runs batted in. deGrom, in now 125 innings, has walked only 21 and has struck out 126. Opposing hitters are hitting under 200 against him. Into left center. Duenheis, Conforto. Duenheis hangs on. What they had there was a failure to communicate.
Well, this happens when, even in the outfield a lot, when you have, say, a new outfielder out there. Conforto just coming up, playing in just his 3rd game in the big leagues. So they're not used to each other out there, and communication and collision. And lucky for the Mets and unfortunate for the Dodgers, he was able to hold on.
Well, there's a report that Johnny Cueto has in fact been traded to Kansas City this afternoon. The deal was thought to have been consummated last night. One of the players going in return didn't pass the muster in terms of X-rays, MRIs, or whatever. So they reconfigured it, and Cueto is going to Kansas City. Kansas City, here he comes. Kendrick bounces to short. Dodgers go in order after 5.5. The Mets 1-0. Presented by 76. Dodgers board the charter immediately after the game tonight. Had a mile down the road from LaGuardia. Off day tomorrow. On Tuesday night, Sonny Gray and Brett Anderson. Wednesday night, Drew Pomerantz and Clayton Kershaw off on Thursday. Then the Angels are in town over the weekend. That's what's upcoming. It's all the games right here. Sportsnet LA. Top of the order for the Mets in the bottom of the 6th. Granderson 0 for 2. Takes a strike, gets nothing in 1. So we're talking about the Hall of Fame class and the ceremonies that are going on upstate in Cooperstown. And you were talking about Pedro today. And Pedro was known to hit a batter or two, and not necessarily intentionally. He just reserved his portion of the plate. And as they say, turnabout is fair play, and you were Mr. Turnabout.
Oftentimes. I mean, you know, Pedro would like to pitch inside, establish that. All pitchers, I mean, you always talk about it, Oral, that you got to get in there. You can't get them too comfortable in the inner half and leaning over the plate. Pedro would do that and occasionally hit a guy. And a lot of teams always took exception to that. And I knew, all right, I was coming up. I was usually the guy that was getting hit. So I would come up, and sometimes I'd even tell just the catcher, hey, just make sure it's low.
So you were public enemy number 1A.
Yeah, it would happen.
Well, it's eye for an eye, but it's also usually the star is the one that gets picked on. The best hitter is the one that gets picked on when the retaliation comes. And that's why Nomar got hit a lot when Pedro was pitching.
But I also knew if there was a ball that hit me and we hadn't hit anybody, I knew somebody was going down on their team quick. And there were even times where if the ball was maybe a breaking ball that hit me, or as a hitter, you can tell that ball got away. He wasn't trying, it just got away. I would go and tell Pedro, listen, it got away or it was a breaking ball. Yeah, go focus. And he'd always appreciate it. Like, thank you for telling me, because I knew. And if I didn't say a word, there was somebody going down.
No, I would walk by when I would go get my glass of water or grab my towel on the bench. I'd walk by my guy who got hit and just give him a glance.
Yeah.
And if he didn't say anything,
you knew.
I got it.
Mm-hmm.
I got it.
With Tejada on deck, the 68th pitch of the day from Greinke, just outside.
And there were times too, like that game, you felt it. I was like, listen, it's not worth it. We'll get them later. I know what you're thinking, but we need this win right here. Go get them. Let's go. That's going to make me feel better.
And it's a little different in the National League than it is in the American League, because in the National League, a pitcher, you go back up to the plate yourself. So sometimes the retaliation came at you.
Into center, Jock Peterson. Can't get it. Single into center for Granderson to begin the 6th. A little bit different or a lot different?
Well, you know, I was hit as a pitcher for sure, especially in games maybe where I plucked somebody. But a lot of times they would go, even in the National League, it's hitter for hitter. It's not, you hit my hitter, now I'm going to wait for you to come back up to the plate.
Well, I see a lot of times they don't want to hit the pitcher because they're like, well,
it's
an out. Why would
exactly.
Yeah. Now Ruben Tejada. Oh for 2 and 259 on the year. Murphy on deck. 1-0 in the bottom of the 6th. Runner goes. Couldn't get a clean handle on it. And so Grandal unable to throw out Granderson.
Yasmani's throwing has improved so much, and that is one of the first times this year that we've seen him have to double clutch there. Ball's up in the webbing as Zach's got such great movement on that pitch. He had to reach for it, see where that ball ends up down in the webbing, and just not in the center of his glove when he reaches in there. So he had to wait for it to kind of roll down to where his hand was.
That's doing a good job putting some players in movement. And it was a good timing for that because it was a breaking ball, which is a lot different if it was a fastball.
Dodgers trying to figure out whether or not to ask for a replay. Jim Wallach on the phone with John Pratt in the video room.
know if his leg was down yet. You can see why they're looking at this. At first I was like, oh, that leg was in there easy, but I don't know if his leg was down just yet. They look it closer and they see, yeah, his foot definitely got there before that tag was down.
So now the Mets with a runner in scoring position. Still nobody out. 0-1 to Tejada. If Grandal gets a clean handle on that ball, Granderson's thrown out. Instead, Granderson now has 9 stolen bases on the year. Tejada with the bunt. Greinke picks it up and throws him out.
That's a base hit with almost every pitcher in the big leagues other than Zack Greinke on the mound. Zack has the ability to jump off the mound, actually leaves the pitching area prior to the ball being contacted a lot of times. Look at that break that he has. He's already going towards third when he sees the batter squaring around. That's why he is there. That is a bunt for a base hit. There's nobody that gets to that other than Zack.
Morongo Casino slow-mo cam replay, and now the Dodgers bring the infield in. Murphy is up. Now Mattingly wants to come out and discuss strategy with Greinke and his infield.
You know, or you were talking about that play by Greinke. I was looking at Justin Turner. That bunt's down the line, and Justin Turner didn't break in. He looked at it and then broke back to the third base. That's just understanding how much range your pitcher has in covering that side to get back to third. Watch Justin here. Okay, he sees the bunt. He takes a step. Oh, no, I'm going there because just knowing that Zack Greinke just gets an incredible jump.
Well, the conversation that just broke up on the mound is, do you want to face Daniel Murphy with the infield in, or do you want to walk him, play the 2 guys in the middle back, play for the double play, and pitch to Kelly Johnson? I think Zack has decided I'd rather pitch to this guy with the infield in.
Murphy 1 for 2. Missing outside. Johnson and Duda and Conforto and Nieuwenhuis, all left-handed batters. Just 2 righties in the Met lineup today. Now Greinke falls behind 2-0.
He's fallen behind with 2 pitches that he's executed perfectly in his mind. He's looking for a weak ground ball, and now they're going to put him on. But it was about throwing pitches that were just like the count was 0-2, no matter what the realistic count was, because he was going to make pitchers pitches for Don Mattingly. Don has a lot of comfort with Zack on the mound with his command to let him pitch carefully to somebody before you intentionally walk him.
That is the first intentional walk thrown by Greinke this year, which also suggests he's rarely in those kinds of predicaments. So Kelly Johnson, the new Met, 0 for 2 today. Home run, a single, couple of runs scored last night. First and third. Infield positioned in hopes of a double play. And Johnson, here's a throw to the plate and out at the plate. What a play once again by the 4-time Gold Glove winning Adrian Gonzalez. Absolutely flawless.
What's so impressive is Adrian Gonzalez being left-handed, him going to his right to field it, and then throwing off the run. Almost look at the angle in which his body has to be to throw back and still be accurate on that throw to Yasmani Grandal. That is not easy. That is unbelievable body control, and to be accurate with it. Just a fine play, and like you said, Charlie, he makes it look way too easy.
Just a flawless play. First and second, now 2 out. And Lucas Duda coming up. Duda is flied to left, taking a call, 3rd strike.
The hard part about being Zach Greinke and having such great stuff and location movement is a lot of times you don't get a ball hit hard enough to get a double play. And if you have fielders like Adrian Gonzalez behind you, you can still scratch one out of it.
In Kelly Johnson's last at bat in the 4th inning, that was a 3-6-3 double play in which Gonzalez fielded it through to second from his knees, and then the return throw. And here Kelly Johnson again. It's one to Gonzalez. Throws to Grandal. The slap tag. 2 out. But Greinke still has one more hombre to deal with here. 3-0 to Duda. And the rookie Conforto is on deck. Well, the Dodgers continue to have the best defense in the National League. Only 41 errors all year. Highest fielding percentage, lowest number of errors. A 4-pitch walk to Duda loads the bases for Michael Conforto. Well, Michael Conforto last night 4 for 4 and a walk. Talk about a young star born. Wake up this morning in New York, the back page of the New York Post and the back page of the New York Daily News. One day in, he's already a phenom. The bases are loaded. Strike, 0-1.
Oral, is this a challenging at bat for as a pitcher because there's not a big book on Conforto?
Yeah, with the minor league games now being put on TV and the video systems that ball clubs have, you have video on it, but it is different when you don't have that personal experience against the guy. You know, the scouting report will read, okay, bad breaking ball hitter, likes to attack the first pitch, stays back on the changeup well. But a guy at Zach Greinke's stature and ability is going to say, not my changeup, not my breaking ball. I want to get my own information.
Murphy, Johnson, and Duda, the base runners, 3rd, 2nd, and 1st. And hit by a pitch. 2-0 Mets. So Zach Greinke, who hit Neuenhuis in the 3rd inning and would come around to score the 1st run of the game, hits Conforto, and that is responsible for the Mets' 2nd run of the game.
He's wanting to go low and in, but when you come up and in, a hitter is bending from the waist, so you can't come quite as far up and in as you can low and in, and so you miss up with the correct inside amount, but grab that elbow.
But now the Dodgers are down 2 against Jacob deGrom and Kirk Neuenhuis, who was hit by the pitch in the 3rd inning and would come around to score the 1st run of the game. Neuenhuis, a hit and hit by the pitch. One ball, one strike.
Great pitch right there. That's the changeup, the power changeup that just buries in the strike zone. Look at the arm action and look at the late movement on that.
1 ball, 1 strike, and 2 out. 2-0. New York. And the way deGrom is pitching, it's getting late early. Gonzalez, Turner, and Grandal will hit for the Dodgers in the 7th inning. The shortstop, Rollins, will throw him out, and that'll end the inning. 1 hit, 2 walks, and a hit batsman produces the 2nd run of the game for the Mets. We head to the 7th. been just terrific today, and that's worthy of a Arco top tier play.
Well, yeah, first of all, it's soft hands to field the rocket, and then the touch of a quarterback to throw across, and just the calmness all around to make it all look so easy, as if he knew it all along. And then here's another one, the athleticism to go to his right and then throw back across his body as his momentum is still carrying him to the right to get the out at home.
Kelly Johnson should learn not to hit over toward Gonzalez anymore. It was he who bounced into the double play, and he was the one who bounced to Gonzalez, and then Gonzalez is able to throw out Granderson.
So much of throwing is your legs, the separation between hips and shoulders that help you leverage the ball. And so much of your accuracy is those body parts too, and Adrian had none of those for the last throw. It was all athletic ability, eye-hand coordination, and his arm.
Gonzalez 0 for 2. He's been struck out and lined to center. Now it's 3 balls and no strikes. Well, if you're just joining us, the Greinke scoreless streak ended in the 3rd inning at 45 2/3. He hit a batter, a single, an error by Peterson, a fielder's choice. That would score the Mets' first run. Now the 3-1 to Gonzalez. High and away, a leadoff walk. First walk of the game given up by DeGrom. And then in the 6th inning, the Mets score their second run on a hit, a stolen base, a sacrifice, an intentional walk. And then another walk after the Johnson ground out you just saw. And Conforto, with the bases loaded, would be hit by a pitch. That is how DeGrom's got a 2-0 lead to work with. But as Justin Turner steps in, he's the tying run at the plate.
Well, the Mets done a good job. They've scored 2 runs on two of the 3 innings. They've gotten the leadoff batter on base. Now for the Dodgers, they finally get a leadoff batter on base and see if they can put one across.
Turner 0 for 2. Takes a strike.
The good pitchers give you very few good pitches to hit, and they give you very few free passes and opportunities to score runs. So you have to be more efficient when the gift has been given to you.
The leadoff walk to Gonzalez. Foul back just beneath us. No balls and 2 strikes to Justin Turner.
84 pitches now for DeGrom. There's a different energy levels that you have as a pitcher when you're out there in a game. There's a lot of intensity there early on when it's 0-0 and you're facing Zach Greinke. Now at 84, he could be going through a little bit of an energy lull. The ball is tailing now compared to really exploding at the plate. His location is slightly off. So this is not an inning that the Dodgers want to take lightly. They've got a chance to capitalize.
Turner 0 for 3 last night. Drills it foul up the 3rd base line. Turner is 13 for his last 26. Hitting .349 in the month of July. And since the beginning of last season, his average of .333 is the highest in Major League Baseball for anybody over 500 at-bats. Yasmani Grandal on deck. The way things have been going against DeGrom, the leadoff walk to Gonzalez is a rally. He struck out 6, walked 1. In the short center field, and it is going to be caught by Neuenheim. He had a long way to run and makes the sliding play.
Oh, you were talking about DeGrom. I mean, not only does he have an amazing stuff, but he also knows how to pitch. There, he takes something off of it, and he gets Justin Turner to be out in front just a hair.
It took the sting out of his bat.
Yeah, and then you have the defense making fine plays behind him.
It wasn't the greatest location on the pitch. It was the change of speeds that took the bat speed right out of Justin. He had to just kind of decel the bat into the ball.
Grandal takes inside. Pirates lead the Nationals 3-1 in the bottom of the 5th at PNC. Mets trail the Nationals by 3 games. The Dodger lead over the Giants is 2. Hosting the Athletics a little later on. Grandal pops it up. Kelly Johnson, for a moment, was having difficulty. Be one of the first 40,000 fans in attendance next Sunday when the Dodgers take on their crosstown rivals, the Angels, and receive your very own Dodgers cap presented by Security Benefit. For more information, go to Dodgers.com/promotions. Two out, and here's Puig. 0 for 2. 2 runs, 4 hits for the Mets. No runs, 2 hits for the Dodgers. We've had 3 base runners all day.
Well, DeGrom has definitely been on his game. I was also impressed after that 3rd inning when the Mets finally got a run. He came back and had a 1-2-3 shutdown inning there in the top of the 4th.
Just 13 pitches was all he needed. 1 ball, 1 strike.
The pitch that Yasiel is going to hit a long way is that fastball in the inner half. He's had a tendency to pull off the ball at times and slightly up and slightly in, where his swing is sweet.
1 ball, 2 strikes.
You can see DeGrom trying to work that outside corner with those 2 sliders, and Yasiel's having to reach for the ball. Almost hit it with 1 hand there as he topped it.
DeGrom, this is his 20th career start at Citi Field, and his ERA is just a skosh over 1.5. 1-2, 2-2. Andre Ethier is on deck. Puig down on strikes, 7th of the game for DeGrom. No runs, no hits, a walk and a man left at the 7th inning stretch. That's 2, and the Dodgers nothing. Other half of the 7th inning stretch. And after 6.5, 2 runs and 4 hits for the Mets. And a couple of hit batsmen have been the difference in the game this afternoon. We're talking now upstate New York in Cooperstown. Messrs. Biggio, Johnson, Pedro Martinez, and John Smoltz are being inducted into the Hall of Fame. What a class that is. Looking at Lower Manhattan. Just a spectacular Sunday. 86 degrees. The wind is beginning to whip up a little bit. They're expecting showers later on in the day. And for Zach Greinke, as we're mentioning, a couple of hit batsmen have really been his undoing today. He would hit Neuenhuis in the 3rd inning to begin the 3rd. Then a bloop single to center, a misplay by Jock Peterson. And with runners at 1st and 3rd, Jacob deGrom would bounce to first, fielder's choice, providing the only run of the game. And then in the 6th, a leadoff single for Granderson. He would steal second, be sacrificed to 3rd. Murphy would walk, and Kelly Johnson would bounce to first base. Gonzalez made a terrific play, cutting down Granderson at the plate. But then Duda would walk, and with the bases loaded, Michael Conforto would be hit by a pitch. So Greinke hits 2 batters, and they cost him. Greinke on his 89th pitch. Milwaukee is 1 for 2. The count is 1-1. Peterson is there. And Jacob deGrom, who's knocked in one of the 2 runs of the game. Oh for 2, and the RBI is 2nd of the year. Met pitchers as a group have knocked in 20 runs this year. Most in the league. One ball, 1 strike. deGrom at this point is at 96 pitches. And Greinke about to throw his 92nd. J.P. Howell warming in the Dodger pen. So in this pitching matchup today, Greinke from Orlando, Florida, and Jacob deGrom from DeLand, Florida. Greinke's scoreless streak of 45 2/3 came to an end in the 3rd inning. 2-2. In the 8th inning, Ethier, Rollins, and then Greinke due to hit. As you can hear, a reminder, we're about a mile away from LaGuardia Airport. That's where the Dodgers will take off immediately after the game and head back to Los Angeles, get in fairly late tonight, off day tomorrow. The A's are in Tuesday and Wednesday nights. Just missing, and Greinke thought he had strike 3. One out in the bottom of the 7th. Was a tough out.
sure he's a good fielder on the mound like Zach, and both of them swing a bat real well, and both can repeat their mechanics with extreme ability on the mound.
Again, the 3-2. A one-out walk, the third walk given up by Greinke this afternoon. Watch every out-of-market game live or on demand in True HD on over 400 mobile and connected devices with MLB.TV Premium. Real-time highlights, live look-ins, pitch tracking widget, and more. Every night on every device, blackout and other restrictions apply. Visit MLB.TV for details. Breaking ball for a strike to Granderson. Granderson 1 for 3 and a stolen base today. Tejada on deck. Granderson with 14 home runs. And Greinke misses 2-1. Curtis grew up in Chicago. Had the bulk of his career in Detroit. Became a power hitter at Yankee Stadium, where he loved that right field porch.
It's really hard not to like that right field porch.
Even if you're a right-handed hitter.
Yeah. Sometimes it's better when the opposite field is shorter. I always thought, like Fenway Park, they thought, oh, it's great for righties. I'm like, no, it's better for lefties.
Popped up. Rollins back. Well, Babe Ruth hit all those home runs. Short porch at Yankee Stadium. And then in 61, Maris hit his 61st. Into the right field porch area, a fellow named Sal Durante caught the ball and became the toast of the town in New York. And won a new suit. A little different these days, huh?
Yeah.
I'll buy you a wardrobe and a closet to put it all in. 2 out, and Ruben Tejada into short center, and Peterson is there, and that's that. Nothing across will go to the 8th. The Dodgers have 6 outs to figure out how to come up with at least a couple of runs. summary. We expected a pitcher's duel, and we've had one. And at this point, DeGrom has had the better of Greinke, who saw his scoreless inning streak end at 45 2/3. He's hit 2 batters today, Greinke has, and both of them would eventually be involved in the 2 runs that have been scored against him. In the 3rd inning, Neuenhuis would be hit by a pitch. And then Milwaukee bounced one, grounded one flew into center field. And DeGrom, with the fielder's choice, gets a run in. And Peterson with the error that contributed to the first run and the end of the scoreless streak. And a hit batter with the bases loaded in the 6th inning. Drove in the 2nd run. So now the Dodgers down 2-0. Heading into the 8th. Ethier 1 for 2. Takes a strike, 0-1. So Ethier, Rollins, and presumably a pinch hitter for Greinke. DeGrom has given up 2 hits and a walk. Ethier, one of those 2 hits. Now it's 2-1. Henry Mejia and Juris Familia are warming up in the Met bullpen as we approach the finish line. Two and 2 to Ethier at 279, 10 home runs, 33 runs batted in. For DeGrom, his 8th strikeout of the game.
He's been exceptional today. He has risen to the challenge, facing Zach Greinke and a tough Dodger lineup. He has put his exceptional skills on display.
And they have been exceptional. 8 strikeouts, 1 walk. Rollins 0 for 2.
And the adjustment he made, you got Andre Ethier in his his last at bat, get that base hit. It was fastball, swing through, and then he hits a breaking ball for a base hit. There, he starts him off with breaking ball and finishes him with a fastball. So I've seen him use his off-speed pitches a little bit more, almost that 3rd time through the lineup. Okay, I'm being effective with my fastball early. Now I got to give them a different look, and he's kept these Dodger hitters off balance.
Rollins with home runs in each of the first 3 games of the series, but 0 for 2 today. And now it's 3 balls and no strikes. Alberto Callaspo in the on-deck circle to pinch hit for Greinke. There's a strike, 3-1. Honeycutt and Zach Greinke. 2nd walk of the game given up by DeGrom. Dan Warthen, one-time bullpen coach for the Dodgers, pitching coach with Terry Collins, is going to go out and take the temperature of DeGrom. As the Met bullpen is getting ready.
Down by 2. Sometimes you think about putting your power hitter up with a man on first in a pinch hit situation. That could have been maybe Carl Crawford. Don Mattingly with DeGrom out there thinking that he's not making many mistakes. I'm going to need to build an inning, and puts up his contact hitter in Callaspo.
So Greinke's day is done. 7 innings, 4 hits, 2 earned runs, 3 walks, 3 strikeouts. Callaspo takes up and away. Greinke 103 pitches, 62 for strikes. And Callaspo 1 ball, 1 strike. 36,093 watching the game today on this beautiful Sunday afternoon in New York. Dodgers trail by 2. 94 up and away, and nearly impossible pitch to hit. Rollins at first. Callaspo fouls it off to the left. Jock Peterson on deck. Boy, would he like to get a shot at it here. Just low. 36,000 umpires disagree with the only one whose call counts. DeGrom at 112 pitches upcoming. .115, the most he has thrown in a game. And that was against the Cubs on July 2nd. At 115 pitches, came in 5 1/3 innings. Two and two. To first base. The only one play for Duda. Rollins will go to second. 2 gone.
When we talk about how smooth Adrian Gonzalez is and how he makes it look easy, Lucas Duda lets us have a little contextual example of what it can look like if you're going to be awkward.
DeGrom's day is done, and a standing ovation for the 27-year-old right-hander from DeLand, Florida, leaving with 8 strikeouts and 2 walks. He can win it. He can't lose it. Jock Peterson now had a chance of a little payback when we come back. DraftKings, Play daily fantasy baseball for free on DraftKings.com. Use promo code BLUECREW for free entry. Would that look any better on a Sunday afternoon? Hard to pitch any better than Jacob deGrom did today against Zach Greinke. 7 2/3 of the 113 pitches he threw, 75 for strikes. And with Jimmy Rollins at second base at the moment, it's Dodgers' only runner in scoring position to this point. Juris Familia, who the Mets signed as a teenager out of the Dominican 8 years ago, making his 45th appearance. Jock Peterson tying run at the plate. Takes a fastball away, 1 ball, no strikes.
Jock would like to make those numbers 22 and 45 as far as home runs and RBIs right here.
Hit one last night. Two balls, no strikes. Kendrick on deck.
A little extra inspiration in that batter's box today on this Sunday after the error in center field. Jock, a very respectful young man and very aware of everything that's going on around him, but has handled everything really, really well in this all-star year for him.
2 balls, no strikes. From short right field, Kelly Johnson throws out the speedy Peterson by a step, and the inning is over. No runs, no hits, a walk and a man left. We go to the bottom half of the 8th inning. Murphy, Johnson, and Duda coming up, and the Dodgers down by 2. Of the game. Tweet your photo with the hashtag SNLA Data Strong Fan for a chance to be shown in an upcoming telecast. Brought to you by T-Mobile. Dodger fans travel well. Here's J.P. Howell. J.P. making his 39th appearance. Infinitesimal .31 ERA. 229 is what opposing hitters are hitting against him. Pitched an inning last night in the Met blowout. Daniel Murphy, 1 for 2, a walk, and has scored one of the 2 runs that have loomed large against deGrom and now Familia.
Oh, and that one gets a piece of Grandal. Oh.
Well, you say you want to be a big league catcher.
Oh.
That will turn various shades of colors over the next week to 10 days.
No padding there.
Purple, green, yellow. No balls and a strike. And a 5.5, 6 hour flight back to deal with Pat.
The check swing foul balls have not been kind to Yasmani this week.
Well, did you get any souvenirs from New York? As a matter of fact, he did. 2 balls and a strike to Murphy. Johnson and Duda to follow. Murphy starting at third base again today. Saw Uribe play briefly last night and has not played this afternoon.
The 15-2 loss yesterday you could shake off pretty quick, but the 2-0 loss is a little tougher to take. There's so many different people on the team could have impacted this game.
Rollins, 1 out.
And then the plane flight on the back end of that loss really makes it a lot tougher too.
And also, you know, your teammate of yours had an incredible streak going, and that gets broken. So all of that combined.
The good thing is you've got an off day.
And Juan Uribe stepping in.
A surprise. You get up this morning, you see the lineups as they get emailed to us. That Juan Uribe wasn't in there today.
I imagine he was too. Batting for Kelly Johnson. Here in the bottom of the 8th, Johnson, a left-handed hitter.
It's interesting to watch Juan right there after the foul ball on the first pitch. Nomar, did you mimic what you did wrong on a swing, or did you try and do something practice-wise of what you should do right? Because he mimicked what he did wrong.
Oftentimes you mimic what you need to do right.
I always thought that was odd that guys, the hitters that do that, they're up there almost telling me as a pitcher what they did wrong. And I'm like, okay, all right, that's what you're working on.
Sometimes the first movement is, okay, this is what I did. I pulled out or I lifted my front too much. And then the next movement is, okay, I need to be more on top.
Al to Uribe. 2-2. So 2 uniforms in as many weeks for Uribe. Dodgers saw him in Atlanta. And voila, there he was around the batting cage yesterday, but down on strikes. 2 out in the 8th. In the 9th inning, Howie Kendrick, Adrian Gonzalez, and Justin Turner will bat. Lucas Duda 0 for 2 and a walk. Off day tomorrow. Then the A's are in on Tuesday and Wednesday. Tuesday night, Sonny Gray and Brett Anderson. Wednesday night, Drew Pomerantz and Clayton Kershaw. Kershaw with the 29 consecutive innings scoreless streak. Duda today has flied to left, struck out and walked. And it's 1-1. The A's and Giants getting underway soon. Top of the 8th in Pittsburgh, and the Pirates lead the Nationals 3-1. There's a strike. 10-game road trip is nearing an end. First 10 after the All-Star break. Mattingly's club at the moment 2 in front of San Francisco. They began the trip 4.5 in front of the Giants, but the Giants have been on quite a tear. This is the 100th game of the season for the Dodgers. They're at the moment 56 and 43. Now the 2-2. Duda checks his swing according to Jim Reynolds. Three and 2 to Duda. Conforto is on deck. And we'll do it one more time. So after the completion of today's game, the Dodgers will have played 50 at home and 50 on the road. Dodgers are 20 over at Dodger Stadium at 37 and 17. Off Duda's foot.
Got a shin guard on there because you know that you foul balls off your shin, but then you're going, I can't get a knee guard as well up and down.
Body armor.
Yeah.
Mathematical correction, Dodgers 33 and 17 at home. Now the 3-2. Call strike 3. And that'll end the inning. Duda doesn't like the call. But the Dodgers now last licks as we go to the top of the ninth. Howie Kendrick, Adrian Gonzalez, and Justin Turner are coming up. Moves to third base, and Daniel Murphy, who had been playing third all day, moves to second base as Familia, who got Peterson with Rollins at second base and 2 out, on to finish it up here in the ninth. Familia in search of his 28th save. And Kendrick takes a strike, 0-1. Mets 2 runs and 4 hits. The Dodgers no runs and 2 hits. Well, it turned out to be a pitcher's duel, and to this point, DeGrom's had the better of Greinke. 0-2 to Kendrick. Mile-an-hour slider with some teeth to it.
It's funny you say that, Charlie. I was just thinking the arms that the Dodgers have seen yesterday. Harvey throwing 97, 98, 99, 90-mile-an-hour slider. DeGrom coming in 96, 97, 90-mile-an-hour slider, and now Familia.
98 inside.
You'd think their timings should be on, right? But it's not the case. I mean, all of them with different types of movement and velocity.
Nothing strange. 2 balls, 2 strikes. We begin the 9th. The Dodgers down by 2. Slow roller. Poppy. The bare hand. Dodgers have seen that act before.
Talk about Adrian Gonzalez making it look easy. Well, here's another one who makes it look easy, and not an easy play with the bare hand. Juan Uribe. New uniform. Same old great plays.
Last night in the 9th inning, he robbed Yasmani Grandal. So Kendrick, that's a big play. Kendrick gets a board tying run at the plate. Instead, 1 out, nobody on, and Gonzalez is the hitter. Boy, he can play that position.
Came in for defensive purposes yesterday and made an unbelievable play down the line. Rob Yasmani Grandal of a double.
And he takes away a leadoff hit for Kendrick here in the 9th inning. Turner on deck. Dodgers have had 4 base runners today, 2 singles, 2 walks, and 1 runner reach as far as second. One ball, 1 strike, 99. Nationals hitting in the 8th. Pirates with a 3-1 lead. If those scores stand up, the Mets will be within 2 of the Nationals. Dodgers at the moment are 2 in front of San Francisco. Giants and A's get underway in about a half hour.
And facing a staff like the Mets with all these flamethrowers get you into some bad habits as a hitter when you're consistently trying to catch up every day?
No.
Shouldn't.
No, it shouldn't. So you should have your plan, and you should also know your swing when you're going up guys with this amount of velocity. And you see a lot of it now throughout the league. You would hope that you have guys that understand themselves and know the adjustments they have to make when they are facing guys that throw this hard.
Gonzalez today has been struck out, line to center, and walked. Justin Turner on deck. And with a base runner, Grandal will get a shot. Well hit to right center field. Neuenhuis can't get it. It's off the base of the wall, and Gonzalez will arrive at second base with a double. Gonzalez's 25th two-base hit of the year. What a big play that was by Uribe. And now the double with 1 out.
If there's a guy on the Dodger club that knows his swing and knows how to make adjustments, that's Adrian Gonzalez. Adrian has had his weight back here, knowing he's going to get the power supplied for him, and almost knocks it out of here, but eases up at second base, knowing he's not the tying run.
But Turner is 0 for 3 today. Grandal on deck. Turner fouls it back. It's 0-1.
You step up to the plate in this situation, you're going, okay, I know he's going to throw hard. I'll give myself one chance to really let it fly if he gives it to me, to try to possibly hit it out of the ballpark. That was the pitch for Justin, and you just miss it.
Major League's leading hitter since opening day last year, with a minimum of 500 at-bats, is Justin Turner. 333. This year, 320. Last year, his first year with the Dodgers, he hit 340. He's a tying run at the plate. Didn't want to do that.
Here's a perfect example of why you move Justin Turner up in the lineup. He's been hitting 6th or 7th early in the year. The continued production and consistency moved him up into the 3 and the 4 hole. And here he is in the 9th, batting instead of watching from the bench.
Gonzalez at second base with 1 out in the 9th. One ball, 2 strikes. Familia, 6'3", 245. Out of Santo Domingo. Mets signed him when he was 17. He's 25 now.
Good job by Justin Turner. Not an easy pitch to lay off of, especially with a guy that much velocity. You know you have 2 strikes. You got to protect the plate. Like he saw that pretty good coming out of his hand.
Grandal, then Puig. 2-2. Gonzalez with the double, leading off second with 1 out in the 9th. At 100 miles an hour, it's now a full count.
Familia trying to keep the ball away from Justin. Doesn't seem like he wants to come in on the inner half at all. Got to give in a little bit here. His mental image has got to be something a little bit more of the plate.
Into left center field, Neuenhuis can't get it. It's going to roll to the wall. Gonzalez will come in to score, and Turner arrives at second base with a double. The Dodgers are within 1. It's 2-1. Back-to-back doubles with 1 out in the 9th for Gonzalez, and now Turner.
Well, you touched on it all, Earl. Say this is why he's in the middle of that lineup, so he can come up in these situations. You also said now you got to get more of the plate. In this situation, you don't want to, because Justin Turner just been swinging a hot bat the entire year. Comes up big, keeps his inning alive, and not only that, puts himself in scoring position.
For Yasmani Grandal. Carl Crawford is going to pinch run for Turner. When trailing after 8 this year, the Dodgers have won twice. They're 2-35. Well, they're a base hit away from perhaps tying this score. Grandal is 0 for 3. All of Grandal's 14 home runs this year have come as a left-handed batter. That's Crawford. Pinch running for Turner. And the Dodgers are hoping they can get Kenley Jansen in here. 1-1. Puig is on deck. the All-Star Yasmani Grandal. On 1-1. The third pass, Uribe, hit it toward the corner. Here comes Crawford, a base hit for Grandal, and the Dodgers have tied it at 2.
They saved the double yesterday, did Juan Uribe over there at third base on almost the same exact ball that Yasmani takes at him today. But this one, Yasmani slips by him. Take a look here from this angle. 1.5 hops and blew by you, and the Dodgers have new life in a tie game because of that ball right there.
Very impressed with the left fielder, Conforto, to get to that ball and then get it in to just keep it to a single.
Now Dan Worthen has the entire infield in. Turner with the double after Gonzalez with 1 out, doubled. Juris Familia, his second consecutive blown save. Henry Mejia is warming up now for the Mets. And Puig, who's 0 for 3 today. Dodgers this season when trailing after 8-2 and 35. But they come up with 2 here in the 9th to even the score. Puig 6 home runs, 22 runs batted in. Grandal a short lead at first. Mets lost a crusher on Wednesday night in Washington, giving up 3 runs in the bottom of the 8th. They came limping back home, and the Dodgers won the first 2 of the series. Then with the new players, they pounded the Dodgers last night. And here are the Mets. Well, they've blown the lead. Now let's see what Puig and the rest of the Dodgers can do here in the 9th. Turner, another big hit. He continues to torment the team that once employed him. 0-2 to Puig. Ethier is on deck. Call strike 3. 98 on the corner. Now 2 out.
Fastball in target. Fastball away location. Still gets the call even though you had to take your glove all the way across the plate.
Now it's up to Ethier. Andre 1 for 3 today. Grandal the short lead at first. Well, looks like we're going to extra innings as Tejada throws out his lead. But back-to-back doubles for Gonzalez and Turner. Grandal RBI single that ties the score. We're going to the bottom of the 9th. Been a while since we've seen him at third. Yasmani Grandal with the big hit. A single into the left field corner that would knock in the pinch runner Crawford. And so here we are going to the bottom of the ninth. And the way DeGrom was going, Dodgers would have been thrilled to get this far.
Not many times when a closer comes into a game and has less stuff than the starter.
Yeah. And Favilla tried to go an inning and a third worth of a save, and he couldn't do it. Conforto leads it off. And a strike, nothing in one. When Conforto was hit by a pitch in the sixth inning by Greinke, that would give the Mets their 2-0 lead. The Dodgers come up with two in the top half of the ninth. 1 ball and 1 strike. Neuenhuis and Plawecki will bat here in the bottom half of the ninth inning. 1-1 from Howell. 2 balls and 1 strike. Conforto with 4 hits and a walk last night. And now Howell falls behind 3-1. Boy, we talk about shutdown innings. If ever there was one, this is the one. Howell pitched all of the 8th. And it's 3-2. JP threw 17 pitches, retiring the Mets in order. Murphy would pop out. Uribe and Duda would strike out. Now remember, he pitched an inning last night in the 9th in the blowout. It's an off day tomorrow, of course. And a leadoff walk.
JP has not gone longer than an inning and 2/3 all year. Has never gone 2 innings this year. And most of his outings are an inning or under.
It's Juan Nicasio.
And the reason I point that out is not that he's not in shape enough to do this. It's just that the adrenaline coming out of the bullpen, doing your job, and then sitting on the bench and getting a bunch of handshakes, completely different than the adrenaline coming out, doing your job, going into sitting down, and now taking the mound after being rested and not having that adrenaline rush. And so it's a different feeling for your touch, your feel, your release, your ability to control the ball, and we see that with the leadoff walk.
Neuenhuis hit by a pitch, scored the first run of the game, single to right and bounced to short. Dodgers with 2 in the top half of the 9th. Now we're in the bottom half. Bunts it in the air. What a catch by J.P. Howell. That's the first big out of the 9th.
Well, nobody said coming in from the bench after pitching an inning is going to affect your fielding, though. He gets off the mound really well, and the adrenaline is pumping again. JP always shows his emotions on his sleeve. Conforto did a nice job reading the pop-up.
That's 1 out, and that'll be the last out for Howell. As Mattingly's going to come in, make a double switch. After having spoken with Manny Gonzalez. Juan Nicasio will be coming in. And we'll tell you who the other half of the double switch is when we come back. the other day. And his back and neck stiffened up on him. He's okay now, certainly okay enough to play in left field. He takes over for Ethier, who moves from left field to right. Puig is out of the game, and that gets Nicasio into his 33rd appearance. 41 innings and 44 strikeouts. Nicasio pitching on Friday night, went an inning and a third. So 1 out, 1 on in the ninth. J.P. Howell goes an inning and a third, 2 strikeouts, a walk, and a spectacular diving play on a bunt in the air off the bat of Neuenhuis. Kevin Plawecki is 1 for 3. Two runs, 5 hits for the Dodgers, 2 runs, 4 hits for the Mets. Conforto back with the head first slide. Wilmer Flores on deck to pinch hit. .95, but down and in. One ball and no strikes. Another 95-mile-an-hour fastball.
First one down with good movement. That one just attacking the upper part of the strike zone.
Bottom half of the ninth.
In the eighth, we talked about how this would be a tough loss for the Dodgers to take after the 15-2 yesterday and then a 2-0 big game today. But now coming off the deck with the 2 runs in the ninth, Don Mattingly's club's got a chance to really have an enthusiastic plane flight home.
Difference between a 5-5 road trip and a 6-4 road trip, and knowing that the Giants are breathing down their necks. Pirates have beaten the Nationals 3-1.
We've got to tip our cap, Nomar. We've been saying this team needs to learn to score runs when they're down. Need to play small ball. Needs to learn how to hit the fastballs above 95 miles an hour. They did it today.
Just foul.
Coming up big in those late innings. Especially they got the closer in there and finding a way. You know, they did that over in Washington as well. I mean, I know going back to Zach Greinke's last start against Scherzer, they got 1 run off Scherzer. They bunted and ended up coming around. But it was late in the game where they scored 4 more.
Back-to-back doubles for Gonzalez and Turner, a single for Grandal. The Dodgers scored 2 in the top of the ninth. And there's 1 out here in the bottom of the ninth.
Juan Nicasio doing a nice job varying his times to the plate as he holds the runner. Really attentive to the running game and also the hitter.
Nicasio turned 29 next month. Big fella, 6'4" and 250. Born and raised in the cradle of shortstop, San Pedro de Macorís. Now 2-2.
big pitch right here. I always thought you wanted to try and get this one in the strike zone. You don't want the count to go to 3-2, give them a chance to start the runner, stay out of the double play. So the same ground ball in the 2-2 count gets you double play, and the 3-2 count might only get you 1 out with a man on second and 2 outs. That would be the winning run there. Action pitch right here.
Well, that had some teeth to it too, didn't it? 87 and off the end of the bat.
By the reaction in Nicasio right there on that pitch and foul ball, just getting a piece of it. He was thinking the same thing, Oral, like knowing how big that pitch was and throwing the pitch he wanted.
Two balls, 2 strikes. Milwaukee 2 home runs and 17 runs batted in at 233. Conforto at first base has good speed. Milwaukee down on strikes, 94 upstairs. Second out.
Just coming right at him at a heater after you go with that slider away. Going, I'm going to challenge you with the fastball and up in the zone, closer to. It's amazing when the up in the zone, closer to the eyes of the hitter, you have a tendency to swing at it more and can't lay off of that.
Milwaukee down on strikes. J.P. Howell breathing a sigh of relief. He surrendered that leadoff walk to Conforto. And here is Flores. At 249, 10 home runs and 40 runs batted in. Tied at 2 out, bottom of the ninth. There's a strike. Flores has faced Nicasio once and he doubled off him. Nothing in 2. Some gas at 95.
And 95, and he's got really good movement in late life. It is not straight.
2 out, bottom half of the ninth. Between Gonzalez and Goodwin. They're expecting showers in the next couple of hours. And the skies are growing a little more threatening overhead. And it is in fact beginning to drizzle a bit. Oh, and 2, 2 out. One ball, 2 strikes. Curtis Granderson is on deck. Now here comes the 1-2 to Wilmer Flores. We're going to extra innings. So Nicasio comes in, does the job, strikes out Milwaukee and Flores. And in the 10th, Jimmy Rollins, Scott Van Slyke, and Jock Peterson will bat for the Dodgers. 6 1/3. He struck out a batter an inning. Guess what? He's a hard-throwing right-hander.
They've got a few of those on this team, and the Dodgers are going to continue to keep their bat speed at a maximum and to shorten up. Electric arms, especially the one connected to Mr. Mejia.
Dodgers scored 2 in the top of the 9th. Mejia out of the Dominican, 6 feet, about 200 pounds, 25 years of age. And he was signed when he was 18. Here's Rollins leading it off. Van Slyke on deck. High and away, 1 ball and no strikes. Now the rain's beginning to pick up some. Well, they were right. Whoever they are, they were right. They said there would be a great pitching duel today. They were right. They said there'd be rain late in the afternoon. They were right, too. They have had a good day. Rollins is 0 for 2 and a walk. 2 and 1. Van Slyke and then Jock Peterson. Three and 1. Well,
Jimmy's looking for something right in the sweet spot right here. He's taking a sweet spot. It's going to be on the inner half, not too close to his body.
Dodgers got away with a leadoff walk in the bottom of the 9th. Now let's see what they can do with a leadoff walk in the top of the 10th. Van Slyke studying Lorenzo Bundy's signs. Might he be inclined to sacrifice? That's something he rarely does. Uribe even with the bag at third. Rollins with 7 stolen bases. Van Slyke does square and take it back.
Well, the Mets would have known that if Mejia was given the signal to throw to first base, but he threw before he came set. So Terry Collins wanted him to come set, kind of stand there for a while, so that maybe Van Slyke would give away the bunt when the pickoff happened. He didn't. The Mets weren't ready for that square around, but they got this chance now.
1 ball, 1 strike.
For the Dodgers and Van Slyke, they haven't asked him to sacrifice too much this year, but it's good that you have a guy with speed on bases as well. That helps a lot. Saying, okay, I mean, I don't have to be perfect with this, but I just have to definitely bunt it to the right spot.
Van Slyke has 1 career sacrifice, and that was 3 years ago.
I like the fact that he squared around right there, and a reliever doesn't always see, and especially in today's game, not as much bunting, but he doesn't see a guy hanging over the plate with his bat there. And it can sometimes get in the guy's head as far as throwing strikes and picking up the target.
Now Van Slyke wants to hear it for himself.
Smart. If you're not too sure in this moment, go ask. Step out, go ask. You're not giving anything away.
All quiet in the Met bullpen front. Nobody up. 2 and 1. There goes Rollins. Throw to second base. Not in time. And it's ball 3 to Van Slyke.
It could have been a very complicated sign from Lorenzo Bundy, which is square around and take, so that Jimmy Rollins gets the deke of the guy bunting, but gets a good jump. You'll lull the pitcher to sleep, thinking it's just about a sacrifice, but then you get the good jump and you pull the bat back and then you hit.
3 balls and a strike. Now Van Slyke squares again and bunts it beautifully up the third base line, and Rollins will go to third. His second sacrifice of his career. Van Slyke gets Rollins to third with 1 out.
The sacrifices we've seen on this road trip, I think, is to turn back the clock.
Right. It's been tremendous, and they've been getting it down. I mean, what a tremendous job by the Dodgers all around. Reading that by Jimmy Rollins, utilizing the running game that we haven't seen too much from the Dodgers. Stolen base, and then Van Slyke bunting that one perfectly to the third baseman. And now it's just a matter of continuing executing to get that run in.
So with Dan Worthen and the entire Met infield there listening, Henley Jansen hoping for a save opportunity. And who's coming up? Jock Peterson. Peterson today 0 for 4. It was his miscue in the third inning that helped contribute to the Mets' first run and put an end to the scoreless streak of 45 2/3 for Greinke.
Jock's got to know right away what he's trying to do and what the pitcher's trying to do to him. Because the Mets wouldn't mind setting up a double play and throwing him balls if he wants to chase.
The infield is in. Takes a strike on a slider, 0-1.
You should always be ready for that one mistake. You look for that one spot where if they happen to throw that, make a mistake that I know I can handle, and get that ball in the outfield.
Ruben Tejada shaded towards second. There's a lot of room on the left side of the infield. Peterson fouls it off. It's 0-2.
Time to go back to when you're a kid for Jock. Just play Pepper right now. Infield in, that raises your batting average by almost 100 points. The power being supplied by the pitcher throwing 95, that raises your ability to hit a long enough fly ball. You're just trying to make contact here.
Peterson 262 with runners in scoring position. Rollins the leading run at third with 1 out in the top of the 10th. Outfield deep. Infield in. 1-2. Kendrick on deck. A leadoff walk. Stolen base and a sacrifice by Van Slyke has Rollins at third base. We'll do it again. Peterson 21 home runs, 43 runs batted in. Mattingly's club tied at 2 with 1 out in the top half of the 10th inning. Mejia deals inside.
We just saw Jock Peterson on a pitch before that was down in the zone fastball and fight it off. Well, that started off in the same spot down in the zone, and he's able to lay off of that. Not easy to lay off that.
2-2 to Peterson. Rollins leads from third. We'll do it again.
Every foul ball, every take, Jock is gaining confidence that he can do the job. Immediately when the count went to 0-2 on the first 2 pitches, he was battling some demons, I'm sure. But now his mind is getting clearer and clearer with every pitch.
2-2. Down on, he foul tipped it.
We'll take it.
tough to see in replay. It really is. But I go off the reaction. The umpire called it right away, and Jock Peterson even pointed as if he fouled it off.
You can hear it too. Giants batting in the bottom of the first, already a 2-0 lead over the A's. Again, the 2-2 to Peterson. Two out. Now it's up to Howie Kendrick.
It was a battle, but Mejia won it.
Kendrick 0 for 4, robbed of a hit on a roller up the third base line by who else? Juan Uribe. So Rollins at third base with 2 out in the 10th. Kendrick 368 with runners in scoring position. And Rollins is the lead run at third. Here's a strike. Drizzle is falling. Into right field. Granderson back and there and has it. No runs, no hits, a walk and 1 man left. We go to the bottom half of the 10th inning. It'll be the top of the order for New York. Granderson, Tejada, and Murphy coming up. To the Mets order. Granderson, Tejada, and Murphy against Juan Nicasio, who faced 2 batters in the bottom of the 9th and struck both of them out. So both teams, Mets in the bottom of the 9th, Dodgers in the top of the 10th, get leadoff walks and can't cash them in. Monty Grandal and Nicasio will have a chat as they prepare for Granderson, who is 1 for 4 this afternoon.
The sky opens back up with sunshine.
Mejia is giving the trainer a massage instead of the other way around. Well, the drizzle has passed for the moment. The sun has returned, and Granderson begins the bottom half of the 10th inning. Here's a strike, 0-1. Nicasio threw 13 pitches in the 9th. ball and 1 strike. Under the knees. Granderson 14 home runs and 31 runs batted in his second season with the Mets after a few years in the Bronx. 2-2. Since 2012, the Dodgers are 9-3 here at Citi Field. They pull all even with 2 in the 9th, and here we are in the bottom of the 10th. Ocasio, here's the pitch. Well, coming into the game, of course, the big story was Zack Greinke and his 43 2/3 scoreless streak, which would come to an end in the 3rd inning. It ends at 45 2/3. And it was the pitching duel between Greinke and DeGrom. And now it's a knockdown drag out. 2-2 in the bottom of the 10th. Granderson is making life miserable for Nicasio. Giants still batting in the 1st inning, now 3-0 over the A's. Base hit into right center. Granderson on his way to second. Here's a throw, and he is safe. Granderson's 18th 2-base hit of the year, sliding in under the tag of Rollins.
Nice piece of hitting, but an even better piece of base running by Curtis Granderson.
Right out of the box. Right here, he was thinking too. He's thinking, if I'm getting the angle, I'm gonna. He was watching, paying attention. And right before he hit first base, he made it up in his mind that he was going to second. Ocasio hoping they can get that throw in time.
Well, the Dodgers in the top half of the 10th. Rollins walked and stole second, so the Dodgers had a runner at second base with nobody out, couldn't cash it in.
He's safe by a hair.
Now Ruben Tejada. Before he gets a chance to swing the bat, Rick Honeycutt's going to go out. Talk to Nicasio and the entire infield.
Well, there's action in the bullpen. Kenley is getting hot. I don't know if Rick's going to stall enough to bring him in now, or they're going to wait to possibly see if the Mets sacrifice and bring him in with a man on third and only 1 out. They're definitely giving Kenley enough time to get heated up. You don't get your closer up in this situation if you're not thinking about bringing him in. That is not for protection.
Tejada with 1 sacrifice bunt this season. Guerrero in on the grass at third.
Tough situation for Alex Guerrero, who doesn't play third base very much.
Tejada bunts it in the air, and Gonzalez can't hang on to it. Nicasio backs him up, throws to first base, and Tejada is retired.
Granderson at second base has to freeze. So you say all that action, what's Granderson still doing at second? Well, he's at second because the ball was bunted in the air. It deflects off Adrian Gonzalez, but directly to Nicasio. He still has to freeze. He doesn't know what's going to happen right here, and he doesn't know if Nicasio is going to turn and look at him. But Nicasio immediately gets the ball to Kendrick. Kendrick has Granderson in front of him, freezes the runner, and the Dodgers catch a big break.
Just your basic 3-1-4.
Granderson just not knowing, nothing there was decisive for him.
Now Murphy will be intentionally walked. And guess who's coming up next?
Your job as a base runner in those situations, you're looking for the ball to go down on the ground. And the moment it is up in the air, you just freeze because you know you don't want to get doubled up. And then since there was a chance, you freeze even more. And he was just caught, recognizing him, he was caught in no man's land. He's like, I'm just going to be safe and stay right here.
Now the intentional walk. Now you remember on Wednesday in Atlanta, Kenley Jansen struck out Uribe to end that game. Now here it is 4 or 5 days later, and Uribe in his second team of the week has a chance to beat the Dodgers. And Mattingly is going to come in and make the change, and so it'll be Kenley Jansen and Juan Uribe again. Mattingly going out, explaining the double switch. Looks like Kike Hernandez is coming in and Jimmy Rollins coming out. As Kenley Jansen awaits the cue, he gets it, and we'll come back. Jansen and Uribe, part 2, when we come back. Uribe would be the tying run at the plate in Atlanta and struck him out. Dodgers would hang on and beat the Braves 3-1. Jansen recorded his 17th save of the year. So here it is 4 days later, and Uribe and Jansen will have a battle again. Only this time Uribe with a chance to win the game. Granderson is at second, Murphy is at first. One out in the bottom half of the 10th inning. So, two close friends now in a pitched battle. Granderson, terrific speed at second base. And he is the game-winning run. Kike Hernandez has taken over at second base. Rollins remains in the game. Kendrick is out. First and second, one out in the bottom of the 10th. Nothing and 2.
Kenley coming right after him, and actually sophisticated pitch right there, even though he missed his spot, because he delivered the ball to home as he looked at Curtis Granderson to kind of mess with Uribe.
One out, bottom of the 10th. That is going to do it. Uribe with the game-winning hit. In to score is Granderson. And the Mets, with a run in the bottom of the 10th, have beaten the Dodgers 3-2. Juan Uribe, the former Dodger, knocks in Granderson, and the Mets win in 10. Welcome to New York, Juan Uribe. Getting congratulations from Curtis Granderson, and that, of course, would be the Lexus play of the game. Fastball over the heart of the plate. And the Dodgers will leave New York 5-5, their first 10 after the All-Star break. For the Mets, 3 runs, 6 hits, no errors. The Dodgers, 2 runs, 5 hits, and 1 error. So the Dodgers fall to 56 and 44. That is a wrap from New York. For Alana Rizzo, Nomar Garcia-Parra, Oral Hershiser, and Charlie Steiner saying good night and goodbye from Citi Field. Now it's time to send it back to Access Sportsnet Dodgers, brought to you by Nissan.